Sense and Sensibility. Once upon a time, there was a Dashwood family. When Mr. Dashwood dies, his son inherits his property, Norland Park. His second wife and 3 daughters, Eleanor, Marian, and Margaret, only get a small pension. His last wish was that his son would take care and provide for them. John's wife, Fanny, convinces him to break this promise. John and Fanny move to Norland right after his dad's death. The Dashwood women, feeling like strangers in their own home, decide to look for a new place. Fanny's brother, Edward Ferrars, a loving, kind, and talented gentleman, goes to Norland to visit his sister. It becomes clear that he has a connection with Eleanor, and Mrs. Dashwood, seeing that connection, hopes that they will eventually get married. But Fanny makes it clear that their mother wants him to marry a high society rich woman. Mrs. Dashwood, not happy with this news, decides to move as soon as possible. Although Eleanor is interested in Edward, her behavior of being too quiet and reserved makes it hard to show her emotions. Eleanor does not encourage her family on wedding subjects, even though she secretly hopes that Edward will eventually propose. One of their cousins, John Middleton, offers them a small house in his property of Devonshire, Barton Park, and they decide to take on his offer. Sir John lives with his wife, Lady Middleton, and his mother-in-law, Mrs. Jennings. While visiting Sir John, the Dashwood girls meet his old friend, the reserved, quiet, but kind Colonel Brandon, that instantly becomes attracted to Marian, and Mrs. Jennings can see it. Marian doesn't like that idea at all, considers Colonel Brandon an old man incapable of love. During a walk in the rain, Marian gets hurt, and a handsome gentleman helps her. That is John Willoughby, who was visiting his aunt at the time. He loves art and poetry, which are characteristics Marian really likes about him. But Willoughby had to go away. Then, Marian decides to go to London after him. She writes him a lot of letters when he finally replies. He sent her a letter saying he was never in love and that he is now engaged to Miss Grey, a rich woman. After that revelation, Colonel Brandon tells them that Willoughby had seduced his adopted daughter and got her pregnant, and then he ran away. Marian starts neglecting her health and gets sick. Eleanor tells Marian that she wouldn't be happy with Willoughby. Edward then decides to visit the Dashwood family, who believed he was married at the time. But he tells Eleanor that his brother will marry Lucy instead, and that he is now single. Then he proposes to her, and she says yes. They get married and move to Delaford. A couple of years later, Marian gets married to Colonel Brandon, and both sisters live happily ever after. Marian was a sensibility, love, emotion, while Eleanor was the sense, the rationality. And that is Sense and Sensibility.